The daily routine of a professional property manager. What does a professional property manager actually do every single day? I mean, behind the scenes, when the phone is ringing, the emails are piling up, and a tenant somewhere is having a crisis at 7 in the morning. Today, we are pulling back the curtain completely and giving you 5 real case studies that show you exactly what this job looks like from sunrise to sundown. If you are new here, welcome. Hit that like button and subscribe to this channel because we drop content every week that helps you understand the property management world at a deeper level than anywhere else online. I am Nelius, and now let us get into it, because what I am about to share with you might completely change how you think about this profession. Most people assume property management is just collecting rent and fixing a leaky tap every now and then, but the professionals who do this at a high level are essentially running a small business inside someone else's investment. They are the bridge between stressed landlords and demanding tenants, and the decisions they make every single day can either protect or destroy the value of a property. The daily routine of a property manager is not glamorous, but it is genuinely fascinating when you break it down, and these 5 case studies are going to show you the reality of what that looks like in practice. Case study number 1. Meet Sarah. She manages a portfolio of 42 residential units spread across 3 different suburbs. Her alarm goes off at 6:15 every morning. Before she even gets to the office, she has already checked her phone for any overnight maintenance requests that came through. On this particular Tuesday, there were 2. A tenant in Unit 7 had reported a hot water system that stopped working overnight, and another tenant in a different building had sent 3 increasingly frustrated messages about a neighbor playing music until 2 in the morning. By the time Sarah sat down at her desk at 8:30, she had already made 2 calls. She had a plumber lined up for the hot water system, with a confirmed arrival window that she communicated back to the tenant before 9. She had also documented the noise complaint, sent a formal written notice to the offending tenant per the tenancy agreement, and logged everything in her management system. Before lunch, she had processed 4 rental payments, completed 2 routine inspection reports from the day before, and had a 30-minute call with a property owner who was worried about the rental market shifting. By 3 in the afternoon, she had negotiated a lease renewal with a long-term tenant, locking in a modest rent increase that kept the tenant happy but protected the owner's yield. This is what a good day looks like for a professional property manager. Every decision is deliberate, every communication is documented, and every problem gets triaged by urgency before anything else happens. Case study number 2 brings us to Marcus, who manages a small commercial portfolio alongside a handful of residential properties. His challenge is that the 2 worlds operate on completely different timelines and rulebooks. On a Wednesday morning that started relatively smoothly, Marcus received a call from a business owner who was leasing a retail space and had discovered a significant water leak coming through the ceiling. Unlike a residential tenant, this business owner was losing money in real time. Stock was being damaged, customers could not enter safely, the pressure was immediate and financial. Marcus had to coordinate not just a plumber, but a structural assessment, contact the building owner, review the lease to determine whose responsibility the repair was under the commercial terms, and draft communication to the tenant explaining the timeline and their rights. All of this happened before noon. What this case study shows us is that professional property managers need to understand not just maintenance logistics, but also the legal frameworks that govern different property types. Marcus had invested heavily in his own professional development, which meant he was not scrambling to find answers. He already knew the answers. That kind of preparation comes from genuine education and ongoing learning, which we will come back to in a moment. Case study number 3. This one involves a property manager named Priya, and it is probably the most emotionally challenging scenario of all 5. Priya managed a portfolio of 68 units, and one of her long-term tenants, a woman who had lived in the same apartment for 11 years, had fallen significantly behind on rent. This was not a case of someone trying to avoid paying. The tenant had experienced a sudden job loss and was genuinely struggling. Priya had to balance two very real obligations. On one side, she had a property owner who relied on that rental income and expected professional management of their asset. On the other side, she had a human being in crisis sitting on the other end of a phone call. What Priya did first was document everything and communicate transparently with the property owner. She then connected the tenant with relevant housing support services in their area and negotiated a structured repayment plan that gave the tenant a realistic pathway forward while protecting the owner's interests. She knew the legal notice requirements for arrears inside out, so she was able to navigate the situation without escalating unnecessarily. The owner was initially frustrated but trusted Priya's judgment because Priya had built that trust over years of consistent professional communication. The tenant stayed, the arrears were cleared over the following 3 months, and the tenancy continued. This case study is important because it shows that the best property managers are not just administrators. They are problem solvers with genuine empathy who understand that real people live inside the numbers on a spreadsheet. Case study number 4 takes us into a scenario that more and more property managers are facing as property values climb and owners start questioning whether their current management arrangement is still serving them. James had been managing a portfolio of 29 properties when 3 of his owners in the same week raised concerns about their returns. They were seeing content online suggesting that self management was becoming easier, and they were wondering whether a professional manager was still worth the fee. James did not get defensive. Instead, he scheduled individual meetings with each of the 3 owners and brought data. He showed each one a detailed breakdown of what had been handled on their behalf over the previous 12 months. Maintenance coordination hours, lease renewals negotiated, legal compliance updates, inspections completed, tenant disputes managed. When the owners saw the full picture laid out in front of them, the conversation shifted completely. One of them said he had no idea how much was happening behind the scenes. All 3 renewed their management agreements. James also used this as a prompt to completely overhaul his client communication strategy, introducing monthly owner reports that proactively shared information rather than waiting for owners to ask questions. This case study is a masterclass in the business development side of property management. Retention is just as important as acquisition, and the professionals who understand this build portfolios that are stable and growing. Case study number 5. Our final case study follows a day in the life of Elena, who is relatively newer to professional property management, having been in the role for just under 2 years. Elena manages 21 properties and is still building the systems and habits that will allow her to scale. Her biggest challenge on the day we are looking at was a routine inspection that did not go to plan. She arrived at the property to find that the tenant had a dog. There was no pet approved on the lease. The property had visible wear on the carpets consistent with a large animal living there for some time. Elena stayed calm. She photographed everything thoroughly and professionally. She did not confront the tenant aggressively in the moment. She completed the inspection, left the property, and then worked through the correct process. She reviewed the lease, confirmed there was no pet clause, checked the relevant tenancy legislation for her jurisdiction, drafted a formal notice to the tenant, and communicated the situation to the property owner with a clear explanation of the next steps. She also flagged the potential need for a carpet assessment and got a quote organized. Elena handled a genuinely tricky situation with exactly the kind of measured professionalism that the best managers develop over time. And the reason she was able to do that, even at 2 years into her career, was because she had invested in her own education early. She had done the work to understand not just the daily tasks, but the underlying frameworks that explain why those tasks exist and how to handle edge cases when things go sideways. Now, what do all 5 of these case studies have in common? Every single one of these professionals, whether they were dealing with a water leak, a rent arrear situation, an unauthorized pet, or a skeptical property owner, was drawing on a deep well of knowledge that they had built intentionally. Property management at a professional level is not something you pick up fully by accident or by trial and error alone. The people who thrive in this industry are the ones who treat their own development as seriously as they treat the portfolios they manage. And that is exactly why I built the Effective Property Management course. This course is designed for people who want to do this job properly. Whether you are brand new to property management and trying to build a solid foundation, or you are already managing properties and want to sharpen your skills, understand the legal side more deeply, and create better systems, this course was built for you. When you become a member, you get access to content that covers everything from daily operations and tenant communication through to owner relations, compliance, inspections, lease negotiations, and how to handle the kind of edge cases that these 5 professionals faced in the case studies we just walked through. The goal is simple. We want you to be the kind of property manager that owners trust completely and tenants respect. The kind of professional who can walk into any situation with confidence because they have done the work. If you want to know more, click the link in the description and you can find out everything about becoming a member today. Now I want to give you something practical before we wrap up, because this channel is about delivering real value every single time. If you took anything from these 5 case studies, let it be this. The daily routine of a professional property manager is built on 3 invisible pillars that nobody really talks about enough. The first pillar is documentation. Every single interaction, every maintenance request, every conversation with an owner or a tenant, every notice sent, every inspection completed needs to be documented thoroughly and consistently. Documentation is not just about protecting yourself legally, although it absolutely does that. It is also what allows you to communicate confidently with owners, make decisions quickly based on accurate information, and demonstrate your value when anyone questions it. James could walk into those 3 meetings with hard data because he had been documenting everything all along. Sarah could manage 42 units without dropping a single ball because her documentation system meant nothing, lived only in her head. The second pillar is communication that is proactive rather than reactive. The best property managers in the world are not the ones who respond fastest to problems. They are the ones whose communication is so consistent and thorough that minor issues get flagged before they become major ones, and owners feel so informed that they rarely feel the need to chase. Priya maintained the trust of her property owner through a difficult tenant situation, not because the situation was easy, but because her communication was clear, honest, and timely from the very beginning. The third pillar is continuing education. This industry changes, legislation changes, market conditions shift, technology evolves. Tenant expectations are different today than they were 5 years ago, and they will be different again 5 years from now. The managers who stay ahead are the ones who treat learning as part of the job, not as a bonus activity they might get to eventually. I want you to take a moment and honestly assess where you are across those 3 pillars. Are you documenting everything consistently? Are you communicating proactively with the owners and tenants in your world? And are you genuinely investing in your own knowledge and skill development? If there are gaps in any of those 3 areas, that is where your energy needs to go next. And if you are serious about closing those gaps with real structured education, I will say it again, the link is in the description. And becoming a member of the Effective Property Management course is the most direct route to building the skills, the confidence, and the professional reputation that allows you to do this job at the highest level. Before I wrap this video up, I want to say a genuinely big thank you to everyone who has been watching this channel, sharing these videos, and leaving comments. If you have found any of this useful, please hit the like button right now and subscribe if you have not already done so, because we have got more content coming that goes even deeper into the realities of professional property management. Your support genuinely makes a difference, and it tells the algorithm that this content is worth putting in front of more people who need it. The daily routine of a property manager is demanding, complex, and at times genuinely stressful, but it is also one of the most rewarding careers available to someone who love solving problems, helping people, and being at the center of an industry that touches almost every person's life in some way. Whether you are thinking about entering this profession, you are already in it and looking to grow, or you are a property owner who wanted to understand what good management actually looks like from the inside. I hope these 5 case studies gave you a clearer picture of what is really happening behind the scenes. The professionals who thrive in this world are not superheroes. They are people who built good habits, invested in their knowledge, and showed up consistently even on the difficult days. You can absolutely be one of those people. I will see you in the next video.